Imagine Delhi on a Friday, August 15th, 2025. It's a day that usually pulses with, national celebration, maybe some quiet reflection for people.
Yeah, a national holiday.
Exactly. But this particular afternoon, the city felt this crushing blow, a moment of just profound heartbreak, really, right in its ancient core.
That's right. And today we're going to really get into the tragic collapse at the Patte Shah Dargah. It's this revered site tucked away in the historic Nizamuddin area.
Right there near Humayun's tomb.
Precisely. And our goal today isn't just to recount what happened. We really want to try and peel back the layers, understand why it happened, what it tells us about, well, our infrastructure, our heritage.
Yeah, what we value or maybe what we neglect.
And critically, what lessons we absolutely have to take away from that afternoon.
Okay, so paint the picture for us. What was happening right before?
Well, it's around 3:55 p.m.
Yeah.
And the monsoon rain is just relentless. Not just a shower. This is a proper Delhi downpour.
Like worse than rush hour traffic, kind of aggressive.
Huh? Yeah, you could say that. Just sheeting down. And naturally, people are running for cover. All sorts of people, maybe looking for blessings, maybe just trying to get out of the rain, maybe hoping for a tavez, an amulet.
From the Dargah itself.
Yes, seeking shelter in these modest rooms at the Patte Shah Dargah. A place of peace, supposed to be a refuge.
And then suddenly, it wasn't.
In an instant, horrifically fast, the roof just caved in. A wall buckled.
Oh, my God.
What was a sanctuary became a pile of rubble. Just like that. The speed is terrifying.
And the human cost is always the worst part. What were the numbers?
The numbers are just stark. 6 people lost their lives. 6, 3 men, 3 women, and 5 others injured. Including, heartbreakingly, a 5-year-old child who was pulled out and is under observation now.
A 5-year-old.
In total, they pulled 11 people from the debris. 11 lives just shattered or changed forever.
It's stories like Shivansh's that really hit home, isn't it? His mother, Anita Saini, 56, from Jaunpura.
Yeah, that story is just gut-wrenching. He gets this call, about his mother being injured. He rushes to Ames Hospital, hoping against hope.
Only to find out she didn't make it. By the time he got there, she was gone.
Imagine that drive, that waiting, just awful.
And then you have the people who saw it happen, like Vishal Kumar, who works nearby.
Right, near Humayun's tomb.
Yeah.
He described hearing this loud noise. At first he thought maybe it was thunder, but
it wasn't stopping.
Exactly. It just kept going, this rumble. He knew something was wrong. He and his supervisor ran over.
And found locals already there.
Yes, people were already digging through the bricks, the mortar, with their bare hands, frantically trying to reach anyone trapped, just raw, immediate heroism.
Incredible. What about the official response? Did it come quickly?
Thankfully, yes. The emergency calls just flooded the police control room. Like, the streets were flooding, really.
Yeah.
And pretty quickly, the local station house officer, police teams, fire brigades, ambulances, they were all converging on the site.
And the NDRF, the National Disaster Response Force.
They were mobilized too, yeah, with their dog squad, which is crucial in these situations for finding survivors. They worked relentlessly, pulling people out, getting the injured to the major trauma centers, AIMS, Luknayak, Ram Manohar Lohia, a huge effort.
So after the immediate chaos, the rescue, the big question starts to loom. Why? Why did this happen?
Exactly. That's what we need to unpack. The preliminary findings, they point pretty clearly to the heavy rain as the immediate trigger.
All that water pooling on the roof.
Yeah, water pooling, seeping into existing cracks, basically overwhelming an already old, likely weakened structure.
But it can't just be the rain, can it?
Yeah.
Delhi sees monsoons every year.
No, absolutely not. And that's the key. The monsoon, it's like a stress test for the whole city. It exposes every single flaw in the infrastructure.
Like that Linky Bucket analogy you mentioned. Ignore it long enough.
And it bursts. Experts quickly suspected poor maintenance was a huge factor here, maybe the factor.
Because these smaller shrines don't always get the same attention.
Right. They often rely on donations, local efforts, not like the big government-protected monuments. So structural issues, seepage, cracks, they might go unaddressed for years. It becomes a ticking time bomb, just waiting for something like that intense downpour.
And this is where that distinction with Humayun's tomb becomes really important, right? Because they're so close geographically.
Very important. The Patte Shah Dargah, it's independently managed. It's not under the Archaeological Survey of India, the ASI.
Okay.
The ASI looks after Humayun's tomb, and they confirm pretty quickly that the main tomb, the UNESCO site, built back in the 1570s, was in perfect condition.
Thank goodness for that, at least. But it does highlight a gap.
It really does, and it makes you think about the Dargah itself. It's this simple Sufi shrine honoring a saint. People say he was a contemporary of the famous Hazrat Nizamuddin Aulia.
But there's some confusion about his age.
Yeah, differing accounts. Some reports said 25, 30 years old, but locals, through oral history passed down, they talk about it having roots going back centuries.
That's Delhi for you, isn't it? Layers upon layers of history, some official, some living in stories.
Exactly. And the Dargah is right in the heart of the Hazrat Nizamuddin Basti. It's such a vibrant place, a real living
Oh,
museum.
I know it well. The narrow alleys, the smell of kebabs, the attar shops, the sounds from the shrines. It's incredible.
It really is. But that charm also holds this vulnerability, doesn't it? Old buildings packed tightly together, dealing with urban sprawl, traffic vibrations, and then the seasonal flooding.
A stark contrast, as you said, to its neighbor Humayun's tomb,
Hmm.
which is just architecturally magnificent.
Absolutely. It's not just a tomb, it's basically the blueprint for the Taj Mahal. Commissioned by Humayun's widow, Bega Begum, back in the 16th century, a symbol of Mughal grandeur, Persian symmetry.
And crucially, it has survived because of its design and, importantly, ongoing conservation.
Precisely. Which brings us back to the Patte Shah tragedy. As awful as it is, you said it's not an isolated incident in India.
Sadly, no. If you look nationally, it's a recurring nightmare. The stats are sobering. The National Crime Records Bureau data suggests over 1,000 building collapses happen annually in India.
1,000 a year? That's staggering.
It is. And many are triggered by rains. Delhi, in particular, sees these monsoon problems every single year. Flooded underpasses, collapsing walls, crumbling old buildings.
So what are the underlying systemic reasons? Why does this keep happening?
Well, you're looking at a few core issues. Overburdened drainage systems, for one. Many were built for a much smaller city decades ago.
And they just can't cope now with the sheer volume of water and less ground for it to soak into.
Exactly. Then there's rapid urbanization, often unplanned, especially in older areas. Buildings go up fast, maybe cutting corners on safety codes.
And the enforcement of those codes maybe isn't always as strict as it should be.
That seems to be a major factor. Lax enforcement. Even good rules don't help if they aren't followed or monitored. And historians think the Patte Shah structure itself, despite those differing age reports, might have been 60, maybe 80 years old.
So likely suffering from decades of that seepage and neglect we talked about.
Right. And there's actual engineering research on this, isn't there?
Yes, there was a study in the Journal of Structural Engineering back in 2019. It highlighted something really important. Aged religious sites in India, often maintained informally, face about a 40% higher risk of failure due to inadequate upkeep.
40% higher risk.
40% higher risk, wow.
It's significant.
Yeah.
Because while they hold immense cultural value, they often lack those formal conservation budgets and rigorous inspections you see at major heritage sites. It creates this hidden vulnerability.
And technically, what happens to the structure?
Well, think about reinforced concrete. It seems solid, but over time, especially without good waterproofing, moisture gets in. It corrodes the steel bars inside, the rebar.
Okay.
As the steel rusts, it expands. That expansion cracks the concrete from within, weakening the whole structure. It's a slow process, but relentless, especially in humid climates with heavy rains.
And we've seen other examples recently, haven't we? Unfortunately, yes. Echoes of this everywhere. Remember the canopy collapse at Delhi airport in 2023 during the rains?
Yes, I do.
Or wall failures at the Gokulpuri metro station? And then the Jodhpur fort wall collapse in 2024 that killed 2 people. The Varanasi temple incident in 2022.
It's a pattern, a deeply troubling pattern.
It points to failures exacerbated by weather, yes, but fundamentally rooted in maintenance and oversight issues.
Okay, so let's talk about the aftermath of the Patte Shah collapse. What actions were taken? What needs to happen now?
Well, the authorities did act quickly. The Deputy Commissioner of Police for the Southeast confirmed they seized DVR footage from the site.
To see what happened, maybe check for unauthorized work.
Exactly, and the caretakers are being questioned. A formal case has been filed to investigate if things like illegal occupancy or maybe shoddy repairs played a role.
And the district magistrate, Sravan Kumar, made that point about the victims.
Yeah, he noted they were just ordinary people from nearby areas, seeking faith, maybe hope through a tawes. It really underscores how this hit everyday lives.
And the public reaction, I imagine there was outrage.
Oh, definitely. Social media lit up. Hashtag Delhi tragedy, hashtag Humayun's tomb were trending. People were grieving, angry, demanding stricter safety checks.
Frustration about traffic hampering rescue efforts, too, I bet.
Yes, that came up. And broader questions about how maintenance funds are used or not used for these kinds of structures. It tapped into a real sense of frustration.
So, looking forward, what are the solutions? How do we prevent this?
We need proactive steps, not just reacting after a disaster. Things like, well, regular structural inspections for all older buildings, not just the famous ones.
Seems basic, but crucial.
Absolutely. And seriously, upgrading drainage systems.
Yeah.
But we can also look at technology, maybe using sensors to monitor cracks or shifts in buildings.
Or AI to predict potential problems in aging structures.
Potentially, yes. Using data to identify risks before they become catastrophic, these tools exist.
And you mentioned we have successful models right here in Delhi?
We do. Look at the Aga Khan Trust for Culture and their restoration of Humayun's tomb back in the 2000s. It was incredible work.
What made it so successful?
It wasn't just fixing the building. They blended traditional craft with modern tech. They implemented urban forestry, water harvesting, and crucially, they involved the local community. It was holistic.
So the question is, why can't that model be used for other nearby sites, like the Patte Shah Dargah was, or other vulnerable structures?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? It seems like a template for how to do conservation right, integrating it with the community and environment.
This whole incident feels like a massive wake-up call, especially for urban planning in a city growing as fast as Delhi.
It absolutely should be. And for us as individuals, maybe it's a reminder about simple things like finding proper, solid shelter in heavy rain.
And pushing our local leaders, right?
Hmm.
Demanding better infrastructure, better maintenance, using our voice, our vote.
Yes, because you have bodies like the National Disaster Management Authority setting guidelines, but there often seems to be this gap in enforcement on the ground.
Why is that, do you think? Funding, political will, lack of coordination.
It's likely a mix of all those things, but bridging that gap between having guidelines and actually implementing them consistently, rigorously, that's urgently needed, and it's a shared responsibility.
So as the dust settled, literally and figuratively, after August 15th, families mourned, investigators worked, and Delhi. Well, Delhi carried on.
It does. It's a resilient city. But the hope, the fervent hope, has to be that this tragedy sparks real change.
More funding for upkeep, especially for less famous heritage sites. Stricter building codes actually being enforced.
And just more common sense, maybe, in how we develop our cities, respecting the old while building the new safely.
So the thought we want to leave everyone with today is this. What responsibility do we all share for the vulnerability of our history, these places that mean so much to communities?
Mhm. And how do we make sure that these places of peace, of solace, don't become places of tragedy? Because preserving the past isn't just about the stones, is it?
No. It's about protecting the people who cherish those places, who find meaning there, and it's about protecting the living history.